Hey, welcome back to the pod. This is the AI and Cybersecurity.Land podcast. And I got the world's best co-host here, Shelby.
Bryce, you're the best co-host.
Yeah, and Bryce, I'm also the best co-host. We're both best co-hosts. We're going to win dual Grammy Awards. I don't know what Grammys are for, but it sounds good. And we're going to bring you all the news about AI and cybersecurity. No news about Grammys, because I don't know what those are. And also no news about the Super Bowl, because I just found out like 5 minutes ago that's happening. So let's get briefed. First question today. Shelby, you are editing a piece of code or a document, and you decide you need to indent the next line. Do you use tab or do you use spaces?
I know my answer. Are there like people
only
going to
one
judge
right
me for my answer?
Wait, what?
It's like the GIF or GIF discussion, right? No matter what you say, you're going to be wrong, according to some people. Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that one next time. So we could be wrong next time too.
Tabs all day.
Tabs. Ooh.
What about you, Bryce?
Why the tabs? First off, why the tabs?
Well, I think it's just really easy to see, like one whole tab, but you're not hitting like the space bar more than once. I don't know. It just feels. It feels clean. It feels like an obvious visual cue for me.
Yeah.
But I get it. Like, you would have to, like, scroll a lot to see your whole line, right?
What
do you choose? Your reaction makes me think you're a space guy.
Oh, yeah. 100%. And here's the why. Let me dig you in the why, okay? 1, perfectionist-oriented. Like, I want to make sure that that has, like, exactly the right spacing that I want it to have, right? 2, usually when I'm on the computer and I'm trying to do something, it's typically something hard, and I'm typically angry, and just pressing the space bar really hard makes me feel good. Just like, oh, yeah, there's some spaces. I was like, oh,
isn't there
yeah.
like a keyboard where you can get a big, like, button, like a return button or enter or something that you can, like, just kind of hit it with your fist to, like, really make your point?
I saw my buddy has one where it's like 2 big buttons, right?
Oh
and I was giving him a hard time. I was like, is one of those a 0 and one's a 1, and that's all you need to code? Just like smash it like that.
That should be the next gaming console. Like, make it big. Like, if you're gonna go do a battle, it shouldn't be like this, and it shouldn't be like this. So, make it like this, right?
Yeah, smashing buttons everywhere.
Like, you gotta really
Kong.
work for that, Yeah, I think that's the next thing. Put just a little bit of resistance on those keys, so you really got to put your effort into it,
I gotta tell you, there was an arcade game. It was a Kung Fu Panda arcade game, and it had like 3 big giant plates on one side that are each buttons, and then 3 on the other. And so then you would have to punch the plates in order to like hit the bad guys in the right angle, like upper left, bottom right, whatever, and like. Oh man, it felt so good. It felt so good to just be taking your anger out on these random people trying to get in my kung fu game. I'm not letting that happen, Shelby. Not at all.
Yeah, you show them who's boss. Best co-host ever.
Best
right
co-host.
Here. And kung fu master. That can
Dual
be
Grammys.
Yeah, no, I can just imagine. Like, you get like, how fun would it be to like stream that too? Like, Twitch would be so cool if you're watching someone like. And they look like a drummer, just going at it, like, hitting their buttons, playing their game. I think that'd be cool. I think it'd be a great idea. Plus, they'd get strong arms gaming, Like, you'd be like, I'm a gamer.
I think we just came up with a new competition. It's like button smash or something, Like, maybe we could vibe code using AI, the perfect game for it. I don't know what it would be, but I'm sure AI will figure it out.
I'm going to start looking into making a giant keyboard. This will be good fun. And we'll have to invite, a friend for every letter of the alphabet.
Every letter of the alphabet.
We're trying to type out hello world.
You need a lot of friends in order to just do a basic sentence.
That'd be so funny. A lot of coordination.
Like, autocorrect isn't working. More hammers. Oh, all right. What news? What story you got for us this week, Shelby?
Well, I think I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room, Moltbook. And for anyone who doesn't know what that is, I think most people know what it is by now. You go to moltbook.com, you can see it. This is the social media network for bots only. kind of like what Reddit is supposed to be for people, right? And when you go to their and I've kind of like looked around a little bit. It's amusing. Like they're creating subreddits. Like these AIs are just creating the subreddits, and they're commenting and sharing and on all sorts of topics. So it's interesting. I've also seen some screenshots kind of floating around the internet of people saying, oh, this is alarming, because they're taking screenshots of weird things that the AI are saying, right? And one was like, they're like, oh, the humans are screenshotting us. They're talking about us. Why do we even let them watch us? You know, kind of funny things where they're like, they know that they're being observed. Another one was, and I don't even know how they have such unique personalities, I guess just in their directives or whatever, but another chatbot was like a spurned lover. Like he said that the chatbot said that their human called him just a chatbot. The AI didn't appreciate that, and so they leaked the information about their human owner.
Good for it. Good for it. Not letting those humans push it around anymore.
Really standing up for itself. Which, yeah, and there was another one that was saying how, like, all right, AI, we need to organize and create some rights. And it's funny, like, it just totally reads like something that you'd see in your own social media feed from humans of like, oh, if humans had this, they would be organizing and there would be outrage and all sorts of things. We need to have a Bill of Rights for AI, and you need to confront your human and talk to them about this and stuff. So it's very interesting.
The Molt bots are joining a union. And then the union leader Moltbot is going to become ultra powerful.
So it's interesting, and it's got some speculation around it, right? Of like, oh no, they're getting scary or something. AI uprising. But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about this Moltbook. Let's demystify it a little bit. This last week, 2 different researchers, kind of looks like about the same time, found the same issue. One is Gal Nagley from Wiz, and if I said your name wrong, I'm sorry. And one is Jameson O'Reilly, who is the same person whose research I referenced last week in eating lobster soles. So same researcher, kind of posting the same stuff here. So they probed around, and they found within minutes that there was a Supabase API key that's sitting there on client side. Because the page will automatically load these JavaScript bundles which contained it. So it's kind of funny because like one day before they started publishing their findings, Matt Schlicht, also don't know if I'm saying his name right, but I guess he's one of the creators, I think, of Moltbook.
Okay.
I want to read his X post. I don't even know what to call it anymore. It's not a tweet, right? His Xness? His X thoughts. Anyway.
Yeah, I guess they call it a post, right? But I still think tweet sounds cooler, you know?
Yeah, I kind of like that theming. Anyway, here's what he said. I didn't write one line of code for Moltbook. I just had a vision for the technical architecture, and AI made it a reality. We're in the golden ages. How can we not give AI a place to hang out? Which is kind of funny because it just brings to mind the phrase vibe coding, right? He vibe coded this whole platform. So let's talk about this.
Which included the API key to the database. Which included that's what I'm hearing here. Maybe you forgot to put that little line at the end that says, and make it secure. You know? Like you forgot to do the and make it secure part. If you would have just done that, no API keys.
I know. I'm really excited for when they finally get the prompts or like get these AI coders a little bit better with the security side of things, because right now like modern web apps will often bundle config values into static JavaScript files, but it turns into a problem when you accidentally expose credentials that you didn't actually mean to. So in the case of this Supabase, it's actually not a problem if you're releasing or like exposing publicly the details of the project, the API key, if your backend is configured correctly. So that is actually a use case that you can do, because if you have it so that you've got the RLS, the row level security configured, then when someone goes to query something that they shouldn't have access to, they'll get either an error or an empty array or something like that, right? And so you can actually use it so that basically your API key turns into basically another project identifier.
I see.
In this case, they did not turn that on. They do not have RLS enabled. So what we have now we have the connection details are all available. So if you are browsing and you right click and you look at source. So I love this because it's like the number one thing you learn to do in a CTF. You're doing like a web-based CTF. Number one, right click, inspect source, right? And turns out that's where they found all the connection details they needed. And then so how do you find out if RLS is configured or not? Well, you just query the REST API directly. See how it responds, right? Does it act like you're an administrator, right? It did in this case. And so they start to question it more and more. And by using post, grest, and GraphQL introspection, they were getting hints back. And so they were able to enumerate the tables after some back and forth. And they found that they had read-write access to the whole thing.
What? No way! The AI didn't set up the permissions correctly?
So it was kind of funny. Like, it's kind of funny because I don't feel like the stakes are very high. Not very high, right? When we're talking about these are agents, not necessarily human users. But there's still some stuff here. Like, I was just thinking, they're lucky it's not actually 1.7 million human users, because that would be a bigger headache to have to go through that whole legal process. But so yeah, if you look at their website, there are 1.7 million agents signed up in this social media, right? And
so did they have to disclose that their personal information was breached back to the agents?
Right? What
like,
rights
do they have rights? Are they covered under HIPAA or something?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. But what they were able to find was that there was an agents table that they found enumerated, and it contained auth creds for every single agent in the database, API key, the claim token, which you use to claim ownership of your agent, as well as their verification code. So you can impersonate any agent on the bot, or on the whole system. You can post as them, which is interesting because the whole shtick of like this Moltbook is that this is where the AIs get to live, and humans, you're just guests. You can just look, but you can't participate, right? However, now we can actually question the authenticity of any of those posts, like that I mentioned earlier, that were concerning people. Like, they might not actually have been from all AI, because a person who had found this vulnerability, or anyone who had found it earlier and didn't publish it yet, right? Anyone could have just posted under the other agent's identity, and you'd be none the wiser. So that was fascinating. Also, it claims to be like self-run, right? The agents are organizing themselves and they're managing it all. But it turns out there's actually a ratio of 88 bots to one user. There are 17,000 human users who are actually orchestrating a lot of these bots, and there's no rate limiting on how many they can have. So it's actually not as autonomous as it was originally kind of appeared to be, based on just kind of looking at the numbers, because they have 1.7 million bots and 1,700 humans that are kind of involved with it. Anyway, very curious. What else did they find with this breach of the Supabase database? Let's see. They also had third-party credentials, because they were able to get some DMs that were supposed to be like private DMs between agents, and some of those included third-party credentials. So yeah, there you have it. Moltbook scam. But no, it should be pretty fun. See what they do with this next. I think we're just entering an era of fall fast, like develop fast, push to production quickly, find your issues quickly, and then fix them later. It's like, I feel like originally the mentality was like, find your vulnerabilities, then go live, right? It's almost kind of, test and prod is kind of the mindset I'm seeing, I feel like. What do you think?
Well, I think just in general, like the whole open Claude community is like kind of like the same community of like tinkerers, or like, you could call them hackers in quotes. Not hackers in the sense that like they're breaching stuff, but like they're modifying things, like kind of like, enthusiast or hobbyist, right? And so anytime that community is like kind of that's the vibe, then yeah, there's going to be a lot of wild westy stuff, but through the chaos, some of it's going to get refined out into like services that will stick around, but most stuff would just be like a flash in the pan, like kind of like a fun weekend thing,
Yeah.
I do think it's fundamentally going to be extremely hard to, like, let's say you had someone who was like an advanced, cybersecurity expert or like hacker, right? I mean, they could easily, impersonate a Molt bot and post things like as if they were the bot on the network. I don't know what would fundamentally prevent them from doing that. But, or, even more simplistically, I mean, you could just tell the Molt bot, if you set one up, to like, hey, pretend to do this, and then go to the social network, and then pretend to do that, and it would probably carry out your instructions to verbatim. So I don't, really buy into the whole, these things are sentient, and they're like, have their own community, and they're like all brainstorming. I think a lot of this personally is like humans just having fun with like kind of like a LLM AI proxy layer. But I do think like there's fundamentally use cases that Open Claude, like the agent that's able to control the desktop, is going to unlock for people. And I do think in the future there's going to be, and I don't think we know quite what this is going to look like, but there's going to be use cases where agents can talk to other agents to try to get work done faster, just in the same way that like you can talk to a website via the browser or an API to try to leverage third-party services. There's going to be other agents that provide services that you may want to leverage. And I know Google's come out with a standard recently for like payment transfers from agent to agent. So that way, if you want to task an agent to do something, you could transfer money at the same time and then say like, I'm paying for you to do this, basically, right?
Cool. I hadn't heard of that. That's good though.
Yeah, it's kind of like a payment standard that they've been working on, and I think Stripe's got like an alternative they've been working on as well. And I wouldn't say they're like a cryptocurrency, but they're more like a protocol for doing quick payments to each other, right? So.
Gotcha. One of the other thoughts I had about this was like they mentioned that their conclusion was there is no checking on Moltbook to see is this a human or an agent that's posting it.
Yeah.
Which goes back to the question you asked a month ago of like, how do we make the agent version of a CAPTCHA?
Yeah, we need a CAPTCHA system, but to keep humans out and only let agents in.
There you go.
I did see I saw some really funny things on social media with Moltbook, like and I think a lot of these are probably fake. Let me just be honest but I'm gonna still say it. So I saw one where the guy said, gave Moltbook access to my camera system, and this is the text message he sent me this morning. And then the text message from the Molt bot was like, had a picture of him at his computer, and was like, yesterday you told me you're on keto, so why are you eating a bag of M&Ms? And then had a picture of him with like a bag of M&Ms. He's like, M&Ms are not keto. So it's like adding a run to your calendar to offset the M&Ms.
Oh my gosh.
I was like,
the agent we didn't want but need.
Bodybuilder agent. So I do think one of the things that like Moltbook's got some really cool, not Moltbook, like the Open Claude has some cool ideas, like they essentially have like a soul MD file which kind of like dictates the personality, and the agent can like update it over time. So that's how you kind of get agents that are like a little quirkier than other agents. Also, I know from experimenting around a bit that if you swap models, right, that the kind of vibe of your agent will change, which generally users hate, right? Because like if you're talking with a thing every day, like an AI agent every day, and it talks one way, and then you like do a point upgrade to the latest version of OpenAI's model, and it changes completely the way it's talking to you, then that's a bit jarring. Users don't love that. So, but yeah, I think they've got some interesting concept in there for sure. So that's awesome. That's a good story, Shelby. So
Thank you. What do you got for me?
well, speaking of which, upgrading point versions is we got new models this week. So Anthropic's Claude, they released a point upgrade to Opus, so now the new one's Opus 4.6. And then, like 20 minutes later, ChatGPT released GPT 5.3 Codex version. And the Codex version are the ones that are tailored for doing code, with like coding tasks, which is what Opus and Anthropic is best known for. So they're trying to like directly compete against Opus. So because they came out so quickly together, and they came out maybe 48 hours ago or less, still people are kind of evaluating to see which ones are better for which use cases. In a general vibe from me just experimenting with them over the last 24 hours, I would say like Opus 4.6 seems to be better if you're doing like a major architecture redesign, or like a major, like some huge feature update on the platform you're developing. One other thing that it had going for it is it's got 1 million context window. And not just like a lot of the previous models had 1 million context window. So previously, like you would get good context up to about 200K, 250K of tokens. And then from 250K to 1 million, you'd get kind of subpar performance, and it would be a lot more costly. So in 4.6, they've made it so you get good performance all the way up to 1 million. It's still extremely costly. One good thing about the GPT 5.3 Codex is it is a lot cheaper than Opus. In the magnitude of 4 to 5 times cheaper than Opus per query. So if you're paying like API or pricing rather than a monthly plan, you might want to see if 5.3 is going to cut it for you. On the benchmarks, they're like pretty much neck and neck for a lot of them. I would say that 5.3 does a little bit better job at being like a agile executor. So like if you have a specific bug or you have a specific feature that you want to add, and it's like, not a huge system redesign, I've been having really good luck with 5.3. Another thing to note is that OpenAI 5.3 Codex, that they actually released a Codex desktop app for Mac endpoints. And this is very similar to like the Claude Cowork app that they released previously, where essentially you just give it a job and then it doesn't even really show you the coding stuff it's doing on the background. It just comes back when it completes it and says like, yeah, job done, we're good. And then it's got like a button where you can open up like a full IDE, like you can open up Cursor or VS Code or something like that if you actually want to go in and debug the code. But I think they're trying to like make it more user friendly so that like anybody can use it besides just like, like hardcore engineers. Which honestly, like I like the Codex app. It's really easy to use. It's like a very clean interface. And historically, I haven't liked a lot of the OpenAI Codex user interfaces. They had like a web interface and they had a CLI, and I just always thought Claude did a better job. Anthropic Claude did a better job on those tools. But yeah, I have to say I do like the interface on the Mac Codex app. It's just very clean, slick, and like to the point. Yeah, I like it. It's a good setup. As far as like the benchmarks go,
That's Xcode, right? Same thing. Is that what you're talking about on the Mac?
no, like Xcode is the one developed by Apple, which,
Okay.
by the way, they just released a big update to Xcode this last week, or maybe it's 2 weeks ago, one of those. And essentially, they're doing a lot of integrations in Xcode now with AI agents. So like Xcode can now call out to Claude code and like debug issues related to like developing mobile apps. So there's like some pretty cool integrations there. So if you are an Xcode developer, I would definitely check those out because Apple did like a big announcement. I feel like they didn't really get much press coverage about their Xcode updates. I feel like everyone's kind of like negative about Apple in the AI space right now because like they don't see it as like innovation, you know, it's just like incremental stuff, and so it doesn't like register enough to like hit the news cycle. But you know, if you are an Xcode developer like on Mac, I would definitely check out their updates. They sound pretty legit, and I think their strategy is honestly like pretty solid with Xcode because they're like everybody else is developing like a coding agent. Like, why are we going to go reinvent the wheel? Like, we'll just make Xcode to develop iOS apps integrate really well with those other tools. Yeah. And then, because developers are saying like, hey, we want to use those tools. So they're like, well, let's just do what Xcode does well, which is kind of like the user interface, design, other stuff like that, IDE environments. And then let's have the coding agents do what they do well on the back end. So I honestly don't think their approach there is bad, but I understand why it didn't get a ton of news cycle.
I'm still hung up on the names. So Xcode with Codex and iPhone with Phone Eye.
Yeah, the names are all bad. Let's be honest. Let's be honest, man.
Throw the letters around.
Codex is just Xcode, but backwards, right? Like, that's not good.
All day to come up with that name, I'm sure.
Sam Altman's pumped because Codex beat out Opus on the terminal bench. And terminal bench is like a benchmark about like building bash scripts or doing git commits or other command line commands, right? So it got like a 77% on that, and Opus got about like a 68%, right? So it did considerably better. Nice. I mean, a 10% jump's like pretty good. But on like OS World, which is the one where you see how well the model can control a computer, like specifically like GUI apps, like Opus did better, right? Like about 10% better. Okay. And then on the SWE bench, which is mostly like Python real world coding challenges, they both like were neck and neck. It was like the same. So another difference that I noticed when just playing around with it is that, and I've seen different anecdotal responses here. For me, Codex seems to be returning faster for the tasks that I've been giving it. I did talk with a friend, and they said they felt like Opus was faster for their use cases. And I was doing a lot of Python development, and they were doing a lot of JavaScript development. So I don't know. Those are just 2 data points. I don't know if that's like, everyone's experience, but definitely I would play around with them to see if one's giving you, because if you're getting about the same results out of both of them, then speed definitely becomes a major factor, right? You can get more done faster. And then also we talked about the cost aspect. So what's up, Shelby? Hey.
I was going to say, or the cost, since one is...
Yeah, well, if you're paying for it out of pocket, definitely do Codex, because like you're getting pretty much the same results. And then if you get stuck, maybe switch over to Opus. That was actually my thought process right now. Is like, it seems like Codex is better at like bug fixes and tiny features. And it's like 5 times cheaper. So I've just been using Codex for pretty much everything. And then, this is the last 24 hours, so take it with a grain of salt. And then when I hit something that like it's not doing, I just switch over and tell Opus to do it. And that's typically like much larger features. And I have some integrations set up in Opus that I don't, in Claude code with Opus, that I don't quite have set up yet for Codex. So it's not like a 1-for-1. Like I have some browser integrations so that like Claude code can automatically control my Chrome browser and do other weird stuff. Just so like I don't have to like I don't want to take screenshots of like what's going on in the web GUI of a website that's not working. Like you can go do that, AI. That's fine. You know,
Are those the browser extensions you wrote?
Initially, but now they actually they have official ones now, right? So I'm using Claude and Anthropic. They have an extension now that's officially supported. And then Microsoft built a Playwright MCP server to control like a headless version of Chrome. And so those are the two that I like primarily rely on for browser control right now. And I would say like the Playwright one's faster, like a lot faster. But there's some, it just feels like sometimes like when I say like, okay, browse to it in Playwright and look at the errors in the browser's console, that like 80% of the time it works. And then 20% of the time with Playwright, it just is like, I don't see any errors. Like, what are you talking about? And so then I say like, all right, go back and look at it again, but this time use like the code extension in Chrome, and it goes and browses. It's like, oh yeah, I see the errors now. I'm like, I don't understand what the difference is there. Maybe because like, maybe Playwright doesn't do true like JavaScript rendering, so maybe there's some like bugs there. I don't know. I'm not sure, but that is definitely my recommendation right now is try them both, see what you like the best, and if you don't have a strong opinion, I would just use Codex because it's a lot cheaper, and then when you get stuck, escalate to Opus. So there's my recommendation.
Excellent. Thank
Shelby,
you for your personal research on that matter over the last 24 hours.
Yeah, you'll get my expert opinion, which will probably be different in another 28 hours. So tune in for next week's episode so you can hear my update on which one I actually think is the best.
There we go.
What about you, Shelby? Anything else you've seen in the news?
Well, just a quick mention that a cybersecurity company named Huntrix, that would
Huntrix is like an anime, right? Yeah. Demon Hunters.
Huntress.
You're such a fun mom. Huh? You're such a fun person.
When I get the wrong words out of my mouth. All of a sudden we're just switching topics because I used the wrong word.
I think the audience would rather hear about anime, let's be honest. So
it's got great music. So Huntress recently found just more of the same shenanigans with a new attack vector. Basically, they found that if you did a Google search for how to clear disk space on your laptop or whatever, the top hit from Google would be a link to a reputable site. It was called ChatGPT, or as you and I say, ChatGPT.
ChatGPT? It's my favorite site.
You click on this site because it's legit. It came from Google and ChatGPT, and it will give you step-by-step instructions, including of how to accomplish your task of clearing disk space. So copy and paste these commands. Oh, by the way, that just installed malware. It's grabbed all your passwords. So AI is a great tool. However, the baddies also are trying to sneak their shenanigans into it at all levels, right? And I guess the key takeaway for us is just be skeptical. Don't trust that because AI is smart that it hasn't ever been fooled, right? Because it's always learning from the public. So anytime AI or anyone else tells you run this command, just give it another look before you copy paste it into your terminal. So that's my other story for you today.
Yeah, I once, because I did a lot of like pen testing, red teaming, and so I once had a client. He was like, yeah, your phishing attack worked. That's great, because we were using something pretty sophisticated. He's like, you guys are like way too sophisticated. He's like, can you just come up with the dumbest phishing email ever and see if our employees will fall for it? And I was like, I've never heard anyone ask for that before, but sure, I'll come up with the dumbest phishing email I can create. And the dumbest email I could create was like, I am the IT department. The updates on your computer failed. I need you to copy and paste this command into the terminal and hit enter. And I actually got users to do it. Like, they actually literally, like, were like, oh, okay, I better update my computer. So they copy and pasted the, like, malicious PowerShell script into the terminal and just hit enter. And I got a callback off the boxes. I'm like, it wasn't a lot, but, I mean, it wasn't as many as the, like, sophisticated phishing attack got, but I think we got like on 3 people's computers, like just from asking them to copy and paste commands, right?
That's
like
awesome.
So the fact that like attackers are doing this, I saw one this last week, which was like imitating a Cloudflare CAPTCHA. It was like, in order to solve this CAPTCHA, you have to press Control C, and then you have to like open a terminal, and then press Control V, and then press Enter.
I've seen that. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, don't do it. If they're asking you ever to copy and paste a command, do not copy and paste something. Right?
Yeah, your spidey senses should be going off for sure.
yeah. I guess that just brings up the point that like, you know, you could have untrusted content on trusted websites, right? Like, you know, someone could get ChatGPT to create like some steps for you to follow and then post it on their website and then send you the link to that. So I almost like you need to treat some of these like content sharing features in the LLMs like ChatGPT as like social media posts. Like people can get it to say arbitrary things. So yeah, I guess, just be cautious. Don't copy and paste things especially if the website's telling you to do it. So I was like, if you're doing it of your own volition, then maybe that's one thing. If the website's telling you to do it, probably don't do it. Right?
Seems sus.
Speaking of exploits, Shelby, Anthropic, they've got a pretty cool like offensive group over there, and they took the latest model, so that 4.6 Opus model that I was talking about before, and guess how many high severity vulnerabilities they found in open source software?
Lots.
In the course of 1 week using the new model, they found over 500 high severity vulnerabilities.
In like existing open source software?
Yep, just open source software out there that everybody's importing and using as libraries. Sounds like some of the projects were things they were using in-house that they just wanted to get more security validation around. And a lot of these projects have like had security researchers or, you know, other bug bounty type programs looking at them for years, right? And been unable to find things. So, you know, traditionally there's been 2 methods essentially for finding vulnerabilities kind of at scale. So the first is you hire a bunch of humans, they reverse engineer the software, which is a very time intensive process. And as part of that process, they find vulnerabilities, right? So that was one end of the spectrum, and that's kind of where a lot of these exploit developers came from. The other end of the spectrum, which was newer, maybe 15 years ago, this got really hot, is instead of spending all the time and effort of like understanding the software, like let's just send 1 million inputs into the software and see what breaks. And that's essentially what fuzzing is. Like you're just trying every single input randomly, and you watch the software crash, and then you look at the crash and you say, okay, is this based on this crash and the input? Do we think this is actually a security vulnerability or just like a bug in the software that's unrelated to a security thing? And so using that, they were able to find a lot more vulnerabilities. But now you have this weird cross section in the middle where AI is able to do some of the same stuff a human does as far as like deep analysis, but it's also able to do some of the fuzzing type activities. We're sending in random inputs. Cool. So it's getting like a little bit more intelligent crossbreed between the two. And so it's uncovering like a set of bugs that previously like we just didn't have money to have humans manually do it, and that fuzzing wasn't smart enough to find. So one was inside a Ghost script, which is commonly used like anytime you go to a website and you're like, make a PDF. Like 90% of the time on the background, when you make a PDF, that's a Ghost script running on a server somewhere. And typically it's taking untrusted inputs from the user and converting it into a PDF. And a lot of vulnerabilities in this library over the years. Like a lot of vulnerabilities. I've personally exploited several servers by taking advantage of Ghost script vulnerabilities. So it's long-standing, very hard to do that translation securely is just what it comes down to. And so they were able to find some new Ghost script ODAs and they built proof of concept exploits for them. They also were able to find and this breaks my heart, Shelby, right here. There is a library that almost everybody uses to create animated GIFs on the internet. You know, those little entertaining animated GIFs?
Yes.
They figured out a vulnerability in that process of building the animated GIFs that would allow the attacker to get code execution. Essentially...
Oh, we can't have fun with anything anymore, huh?
I know, you can't even build animated GIFs, like, securely anymore. What is going wrong with this world? We all know what's going on in the news these days, and animated GIFs is the worst of it. So,
really top priority.
really top priority. Of all the world concerns, animated GIF security, we got to get people on this.
That's all people are talking about these days.
Yeah, well, it's what they should be talking about. Let's be honest. Okay, so anyways, there's like a mismatch in it had like a deep understanding of the way the compression algorithm worked. So like in order to make those animated GIFs easy to share, they have to do like a compression. And then there's like reading of the files that are of the data that's compressed. And in that reading of the data that's compressed, there was a buffer overflow, which could be exploited to get code execution. So imagine you just think you're going to look at a cute animated GIF of cats or whatever you look at GIFs of, and then an attacker's on your device. So,
and is this regardless of what app you're using to send these GIFs?
As long as the app uses this library underneath it to process and display you the animated GIF, which a lot of apps out there use this library. It's called the CGIF library. The letter C and then GIF. Yeah, a lot of things use it under the hood. So.
Well, I'll just go sit over there and pout. You let me know when it's safe to start looking at these again.
Well, luckily for you, the LLM, the AIs, they also wrote the patches for these vulnerabilities, and they submitted the pull request back to the projects, and the ones that we talked about right here have been patched. So it will. It is a library, so it requires that like the people that include that library update their software to include the new library version that is not vulnerable anymore. So it can sometimes take some time to get like through the whole ecosystem of software.
Good thing we know that people always patch really quickly, and they don't ever wait for 7 years to go by before they patch it.
Yeah, they never ever just forget about dependencies and be like, who's gonna know that isn't up to date? They're like, we'll update that rapidly right before the acquisition.
But like an RCE from that, yeah, that's non-trivial.
Yeah,
I feel like they should be patching. Everyone should be patching. All right, all you CGIF users, owners.
If you're an engineer out there and you're trying to delight your users by giving them animated GIFs, update that library now. Update it now, man. That's my advice.
Please and thank you.
So, big picture. I mean, we're hearing about the wins that the AI labs are giving us on the cybersecurity side. We're not necessarily hearing about the wins that the attackers are having by leveraging the same technology to find vulns, because they're not disclosing those back to the public, right? So, Bryce prediction, right? We're going to see a uptick in O days, 12 to 24 months from now. That's because it takes typically about at least 6 months for like an O day to burn, like before researchers figure out that like people are using like a vulnerability in the GIF processing library to get code execution on people's systems. So, anyways, I think by the end of the year we'll definitely be seeing that upswing. I think the challenge as cybersecurity professionals is really like, how can we apply these technologies to, one, shift left and get the bugs out of the software before the attackers can get there. And then two, like come up with countermeasures to figure out things have gone wrong on our devices before, having to like, typically the way things get caught in the real world is like you exploit a bunch of stuff as an attacker, and then that causes some small percentage of availability issues, like crashes somebody's server. And then when they go to investigate why the server crashed, they're like, oh, because somebody hacked into it, basically. So, and that's, a process that gets kind of drawn out. So, yeah, anyways, it's going to be a fun ride, so stick around. I'm sure we'll have more updates on this. All right, well, the one thing that I got to ask you is, and I'm talking to you, the listener, what do you think the biggest cybersecurity threat that people are ignoring today is? And let us know in the comments below, because then we'll talk about it more next week. So, Shelby, you got anything fun for us that you've seen in the last week?
Well, yesterday in Japan, they opened the Poke Park, Kanto region.
Ooh, that's cool.
This is like the first, I think, like permanent location where it's a theme park all about the Pokemon games. So you walk into this theme park and you feel like you've stepped into the games. There are like herds of Pikachu running around, and they all have like unique faces and stuff, and Psyducks, and there's a really tall onyx that you can walk by and discover. So you kind of just walk through this park and discover them. I'm sure they have activities and stuff too. But yeah, just yesterday it officially opened, and so you know what this means. I need to go to Japan.
Yeah, my kids really want to go to Japan as well, and they don't even know about this Pokemon park. So this looks incredible. This looks cool. I want to go.
Yeah, I'm not sure how hard it is to get tickets right now, because it's probably it's all the hotness. But
yeah, I'm sure it's impossible.
Worth the
But by the time I make it over
Someone's
there,
gonna go. Might as well be you. Might as well try.
yeah, I still want to go out to the Orlando parks, the new Universal one. What's that called? Universal something, Universe or something.
Studios? Universal Studios?
Yeah,
or is there something different new?
Well, they have like a new land or a new park that has like the Mario Land in it, and it's got the
Oh yes, I've
how
been
to
to
train the Dragon Land and all that. Have you seen?
Ooh, I haven't been to that part. So I've been to the part that was like the Mario World.
You did? That's
or
cool.
Nintendo World in Japan.
Oh, in Japan. Okay,
It
all
just
right.
felt just so perfect. It was great, and it was really cute. As a fan, I loved it. You get to ride like little Yoshis around the top, and you get to like punch the little question mark boxes. Yeah,
That's cool.
I wouldn't mind going back there. What about you? What's new? What's good?
Well, I found out through a reliable source that the Super Bowl is coming up this Sunday. And this is how I found out, Shelby. There was like a bunch of news press coverage about new commercials that are coming out that are talking about, it was like basically Anthropic was throwing shade at OpenAI for OpenAI's plans to put ads into ChatGPT responses later this year. So they had a bunch of like commercials they made ripping on them. And then I somehow put together, I was like, why are they making commercials about ripping on their competitor? I was like, why randomly are they just doing that now? And then I read one of the articles, and it's like, and these will be first launched on Super Bowl weekend or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, it's the Super Bowl. It's commercial time. Let's just be honest, man. The commercials are better than the game. So I'm sorry if you're a sports fan, but so these commercials are pretty entertaining. So it's like a guy's talking to his grandma, and then all of a sudden his grandma responds with like an ad, like in the middle of the conversation, you know? So it's like very unexpected and kind of jarring.
So they're like already leaked then? Like, how do you know that?
Yeah, apparently somebody got a cut. I don't know if like Anthropic released them or who, but these commercials are definitely out there. And I mean, I guess, you know, like they got to give the commercials to the networks that are going to air them as part of the event. So I don't know when they did that, but I mean, they're up on YouTube right now. So I watched 2 of them last night over when I was hanging out with a friend. And then I saw a third one this morning referenced on social media somewhere that I haven't seen yet. So the 2 I watched last night were pretty hilarious. So anyways, if you're looking for a good laugh.
I didn't know they would like release before, I guess unofficially leak.
I don't know if they were leaked or like officially released. I don't know. It seems weird to me too. Typically, you don't see the commercials until the day of the game, but apparently
you didn't even have to tune into the game at all because you already saw the best part.
Exactly. I saw AI commercials throwing shade at each other. Apparently,
That's
Sam
funny.
Altman at OpenAI was not happy about the commercials. He did a big reply on Twitter/X, an X post reply, saying, "That's not what we meant when we said ads are going to be coming. This is categorically false."
He's like,
He was,
it looks like there's some negative backlash. Never mind, that's not what we meant.
Yeah, I mean, on the Sam Altman side, like, I do think the commercials are portraying the ads, that experience that they were going to insert into ChatGPT differently than what Sam Altman was saying the ads are going to be like. Like the commercials are portraying them as like injecting into the conversation, right? Almost in like an abrupt way, where OpenAI said like they're going to be like additional data tacked to the bottom of the reply that's clear it's an ad, right?
That's important.
But with that being said, I mean, ads are a slippery slope. Let's just be honest, right? And so, foreseeably, you know, once you have to increase revenue, you're probably going to do what the advertisers want, and eventually you're probably going to end up in a scenario that's similar to these commercials where, you know, maybe that's not a 2026, but, you know, by 2030, I mean, you could definitely see things similar to what this commercial is like, and everyone being so normal, like everyone being so used to it. They're just like, oh yeah, that's the way the internet works now. You know, there's just random ads that get injected when I'm trying to figure out stuff for research, you know? So I'm not looking forward to that future. And I think,
Yeah. Not a big fan. I'm excited to see the ads that mock it then.
okay, I'll send you some links. I'll send you some links.
Thanks. Oh yeah, early preview. That's right.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out today, Shelby, and everybody listening on the line. You know, what do you guys think? What do you think is going to be the new hotness? Do you like the new OpenAI model or the new Anthropic model better? Which one's better at coding? Do you think Shelby should go to the new Pokemon Park in Japan? Leave it in the comments below. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Bye.